Gentle Fall. Very interesting little game I've discovered. And of course, only really discovering because specifically the tags of yandere. And yet, comfort, the time of autumn, when things both live and die, decompose, and go into the earth, and come back, revitalize. It's an interesting little concept. I mean, you can find it on Ichito, one of the two for the site. But essentially, how to explain it? It has a beautiful little art piece on the front. Obviously, caution, death of animals, panic attacks, non-con drug use, psychological abuse, and stalking. Obviously, this is not intended for children, not suitable for children. Some of these themes are not in the demo quite yet. Well, not in the game, but not in the demo. One of those two things. But you know what? What the music you're hearing right now is at the loading screen. Very easy to fall asleep to wander in your mind kind of music. And it has been almost a year since you started your degree, and life has been monotone since. You study, you eat, you sleep. You haven't made any friends yet. Everything feels excruciatingly ordinary, except for the feeling of being watched constantly. A comforting visual novel about uncomfortable feelings. Live the daily life of a pharmacology student and find out more about your secretive colleague. I'm thinking Mr. Glasses over here wants to get very close to us. And so what we can see, the main boy, the main man of the hour, Chester, your timid, gentlemanly colleague, who's apparently 6'7", which, in honesty, kind of unnerves me. Don't know, something about really tall people puts me in a state of terror sometimes, so already, this is an interesting dynamic. He's apparently in pharmacology school, as well are we. He's apologetic and opaque, so he doesn't want to let us in, and yet he wants all of us. Okay. And so far, the demo includes content for the prologue, half of chapter 1, and like what? The game's gonna be free? Wild. You can customize your personality, name, minor traits, and see how they affect the story. Which I do appreciate when stories like this let you build out a personality so it fits more to how you both want to play it, and even different dynamics or different struggles can come forth besides just helplessness. It's nice when you can be fiery and feisty, or anxious and curious, or even calm and collected. There's a variety of different ways these stories can play out, so hopefully we get to see some interesting dynamics, especially because we're in a monotone state and everything feels plain and ordinary, so it could evolve into something very beautiful, very, very disturbed, or even simply awaken what we truly want in life beyond just studying and eating and sleeping. Let's see. Genderless. About 3K words. Not bad. Ooh. We even have his own personality to adapt, which is fun. It's not just one specific type of yandere. It can evolve and change And that could even change where the story goes. And curious about this platonic relationship because, like, legitimately, could you have a platonic relationship with someone who's borderline, i.e., lovesick, yandere? Could be. And even having two different romantic endings. My mind's racing, but obviously the creator will do what the creator does. I'm bubbling with excitement. Two wrong ends and one platonic end. Curious, they do have a Tumblr, they do have a Twitter, and Ko-Fi as well. Some of the sounds, and they do have links for Windows and PC. Apparently Chester's birthday was 99 days ago. People are still talking about it, so it's still in the works. What is it? Their name goes by Isa, I-S-A. And it was a submission to the Game Jam of 2023 for Yandere. So if you want to go take a look, test it out, see if you like it. Because not all the choices I do will reflect what you want to do as well. So, let's go see what Chester is all about. Beautiful. Which, actually, let me move my camera a little, that way you can see it. That is some pretty art. And so far in the preference, there's not too much going on here. They do have a default and change of the fonts, so that helps. Muting everything at once. The help page, some things about self-voicing, mouse controls. Let us begin. Gentle fall. And what Chester has in store for us. Oh. What is our name going to be? I mean, should probably just go by my persona name, not Sherfler. I mean, Selfie. Should I use the full title? We can just go with the first one. I like it. It works. Very helpful. It gives you another warning. Minor jump scares. Did I read that? Unless this is an updated one. Still, I mean, I would assume at some point in a game talking about pharmacology would have something going on with drug use. But I'm curious about in what context the panic attacks is going to happen for. Is it because of our schooling, stress of life, crisis, or because Chester decides to go a little crazy? You never know. Of course, I'm always going to be concerned when it says this, but who knows what it could be about? It could be experiments. It could be simply accidents. We're going to find out. Ooh, I like it. Which would be, just for a note of aesthetics for me, what if there was autumn leaves that came down from the side? That'd be pretty too, but still, I like it when text comes out in the middle instead of just in the text box. It's just breaking the mold of what you can do in a digital media. But anyways, proceeding. It's early fall. The leaves are still falling outside. The streets are covered in a monotone hue of orange and green. The middle of October is mostly very calm. This is the part where it's a lie. It's October. Halloween. There's nothing much happening. Finals are still somewhat far. But even if I wanted, it doesn't mean I can relax just yet. Gotta wake up. I appreciate how the art has this fuzziness to it. Like, your head is fuzzy. You're not either quite all there, or it's tiring, or you're in this space that's kind of cocooned in its safety. It feels right for the setting. I do wonder how the rest of the scenes are going to play out, but I appreciate this look to it. Get over here. Shifting in my bed, I looked at my phone. 6 a.m. as usual. The rays of sunlight were already entering my room. Oh, today is. And that focus, love it. Right, I almost forgot. There was a workshop today. I'm not all that enthusiastic about it, in all honesty. At least for me. College is very different from high school. Talking to others isn't the same thing anymore. Very fucking true. It feels more intimidating. I mean, you don't have to see the same people. You're not forced to be around them. It's a lot of change in dynamics, and even people prioritizing more, and even people growing up. But I guess I should be thankful for these workshops, since talking to others is pretty important in my field, which I don't actually have a lot of knowledge about pharmacology. Besides, you could be doing research, drug testing, pushing new medicines, you could get representation, you could get funding. Like, it's a career choice, like, depending on your people, charisma skills, and your scientific side. There's multiple different places it goes into, but I really don't understand about, like, the talking. Like, maybe if you're doing public speaking, you have to go to conferences and stuff. In the end, even if they're a drag, they are still good for me. In any case, I better get ready. Stretching lazily as I got up. Look at that. So, if you've played... what is it? Our Life, or was it Your Life Beginning? I don't know, the one with the character with, like, the line bright green hair. I'll just put something here. But anyways, look at this. We could be tall, we could be short, we could be average. Because all of this is actually kind of subjective, because depending on where you live, being tall could be just being over 5 foot, or being 5'8". Average in height could be just the same principle. Being short, I guess it's just a matter of if you're able to grab things with ease and not having to use a step stool, which then I'm on this side. I'm on the short. There's always a big gap above it. Every time I stand in front of it, I am short. Maybe this mirror's a bit of an overkill for me. My tired expression looked back at me from the mirror, and my hair was pretty disheveled. I mean, kind of. It's a little fuzzy. I sure better fix this before leaving my room. Since I live alone, it was kind of a hassle to make my own breakfast every morning. But that's responsible living if you meal prep or you get it set. Even if you like boil the eggs and have them prepped. That way you just have to peel them. Little things. I end up always going for the shop near where I studied every morning instead. Well, at least it's not like you're door dashing every day. I had to wait a little before I got there. But it was very much worth the wait. The small shop that I'd grown quite fond of drew closer in the distance. The smell of freshly brewed coffee tingled my nose. And then we got... I don't know if it's just the design mock-up, but it's just funny that they're no color, blank face. It just feels very NPC energy. But I really hope this like becomes a character, because it sounds like we go here a lot as a person, and to see maybe like a cafe or cashier interaction, that'd be cute. And even this place looks nice. Has plants, a little bit of coffee, jams. Oh my gosh, did not even see that. There's a little cat. Cookie, macaroons, something. It's adorable. Ooh, I think those are supposed to be cinnamon rolls. Delicious. It was much cozier compared to the outside. Like a warm and gentle cuddle. I wish I could stay here more, but I didn't want to risk being late today. Do I go NPC mode or do I make a voice? I don't even know. Or just be deadpan and just go, hello, what can I do for you? As usual, I ordered. I don't understand people who do this. Why? Why? Unless it's like $2, $3, there is no reason you're getting straight up plain black coffee that just tastes like wet bean water. Even though I like coffee, I don't drink just straight up black because, for one, too much energy. Two, tastes like a wet sock full of wet beans. Three, I could just do this at home. Matcha latte sounds like, ooh, elegance, time on my hands. And even if it does mentally make me feel like, a delicious treat. And of course, if you're straight in the middle, a latte. I don't know, I mean, I'm a sucker for matcha, so we're just gonna do that. Sure thing. I sat down at the table near the window. But it didn't take long until my order was ready. Thank you for ordering. Have a good day. I gave the girl my best smile. Catch you later. You too. Drinking my matcha, having a good day. Seems like I've arrived early. There are not many people at the lecture hall yet. I guess I got too worked up of not being late. Which, holy hell, society makes work run. What is it? People make too much stress about this. Good gosh. The few people that are here seem to be busy talking to each other. I end up taking an empty seat. Just like, it's just hard to put yourself into a conversation when you don't know context or timing. So it's like, I guess we're just gonna go take a seat somewhere. I needed some time before I gathered enough courage to speak to anyone. I'm now realizing I don't think there's any music in the middle of the game, unless it's gonna come up later. This first half of the game is pretty quiet, so maybe I should just record the music from the start and add it? I don't know, I don't want to play the same loop. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Figure it out, future me. So, I needed some more time before I gathered enough courage to speak to anyone. Is the seat taken? Oh, hello. Green sweater, brown corduroy pants. giant. Even worse, startled. Looking up. Looking up, I met the tired eyes of a very tall man. Too tall. Where did that guy even come from? I swear I didn't even hear him walking closer. Hey, it does not take too much effort to actually muffle your footsteps. Oh, not really. Can I help you? The man nodded. Forgive my rudeness. My name's Chester. Chester. For some reason, his name reminds me of dinosaurs. Selfie. It's nice to meet you. It's nice meeting you too. Would you mind pairing up with me today, Sophie? Now the question is, was this all of your machinations? I tried smiling at the man. Sure had a formal way of speaking. Hello. Well, why not? I guess that solves the issue of having to look for a group. Everybody wins. We just sit in silence. The silence in between us seems to extend for minutes. Right. I guess I should say something to break the ice. Chester, let's talk about dinosaurs. That could be like a mean thing to say, especially if they thought you had a good conversation and you just erased it from existence. So, I haven't talked to you before, have I? Ooh, his character sprite. Oh, the turtleneck. Oh, the comfortability. The browns. I love the tones of this color. Yes, you haven't. As I thought, I really don't know what to talk to him about. Does that make you uncomfortable? Well, not uncomfortable, just I don't know what to talk about. I see. In that case, I suggest we get more acquainted with one another. You could be my tutor, or you could be my study buddy. Just maybe not deaf right now, okay? As my opinion... Why did I skip? What was it? As, in my opinion, it may benefit us both. Benefit us both? Mm-hmm. To me, it seems you don't have a set group yet. Neither do I. So, yes, it would benefit us both. Oh. He does have a point. So, what do you say? Well, I think so. I mean, I particularly don't have anything against it. And is this the moment he fell in love? That's great. So, why don't you tell me more about yourself? Is this where I form my personality more? My mind was coming up empty. If I may be direct. For what reason were you alone in the first place? That actually is a good question to bring up. shy or direct. So like if you've ever played Tokimeki Memorial, they had a devil and angel. I mean, it's not as similar, but still, that's what my brain's thinking. I'm not that good with socializing, to be honest. I just got too lazy to build up the courage, so to talk to anyone properly. I mean, honestly, me, myself, and I would take the shy route. But kind of what I'm thinking for our character is being direct. No, I should play it as me, if I were me playing this. Shy. I'm trying my best. It's not like I hate people, but besides, a pharmacologist should be good with people, right? I see. Then I'll make sure to act cautiously so you feel more comfortable. That sounds like that's helpful hints for him. How he like, it's the whole thing of when people say don't describe your ideal partner when you're on a date with someone, because you're giving them information of how to appear so they look like something you want. Very, very smart. You got us to open up in a cunning way. Take it easy. There's no pressure to learn how to deal with people straight away. But it's gonna make your life easier if you do it now instead of later when you are interacting with people like in an internship setting. And yet you're gonna flip it right to that. Yes, I get it. It's time when you can fumble, but I'd rather not. Internships are supposed to help achieve just that. Well, at least in theory. Smiled at his words. In his own way, he seems nice. For now. What about you? After all, you said you didn't have a set group either. Are you shy or are you direct? To tell you the truth, are you trying to match my personality? Interesting. I'm very curious. I wonder, would he have taken the same option if I did direct as well? I suppose I could say the same as you. I'm not very skilled at speaking to others. His voice came out almost as a whisper. He seemed hesitant to say this. A little cautious, he's a little concerned about revealing information there. Well, it's like you said. Internships are there to help. I'm sure you'll be okay. Thank you. I appreciate your concern. Classmate, we got you. Maybe I was wrong in assuming it bothered him. What? Was I supposed to understand that from what we just said? He seems okay. At least I think he is. His face hardly changes. After some time, the room started filling up with people. Chester stood quiet, but it wasn't bothering me anymore. Is he taking like quick looks at me, just scanning over? He seemed to be distracted. His eyes were glazed over. Oh, well, I mean, it could be a number of things. One of his legs was tapping slightly. After a few more minutes, the professor also arrived. There was going to be a brief lecture, and then we'd go to the lab for the practical part. That is where the group bit should come. If I'm lucky, things will end smoothly, and I'll be able to study in the afternoon before going home. Hopefully Chester is competent enough in lab work so I won't have to lead him too much. Is this us being a little braggy and boastful? Like, I know what I'm doing here. Keep up, Chester. Ooh, wow, look at this. Cozy yet sciencey. I'm really have to, I should have checked this because, like, is the creator of the game doing all the back work too? Because this is actually pretty cool. I put my lab coat over my clothes. The lab always smelled like a dentist's office. A cold, sterile smell that could only remind me of the color white. Like, I mean, when I go to my dentist's office, I don't really smell anything. I mean, the only time I smell is when we have toothpaste, which bubblegum, mint. That's it, just like toothpaste. That's really the only thing. Toothpaste and water. That's the main smells I have. Nothing else. It was even colder now, since the leaves were falling. I could only wonder how one would handle being here in winter. I mean, you don't have the windows open. As long as the power's not out, you're in good condition. Maybe you just need to bundle up. Oh, look at this. He's got surgical gear on, too. Are you a little fond of it, sir? So, shall we begin? He looked at me, waiting for me to get ready. Well, damn, he's just like, chop chop. Sure. In the end, things ended up all right. Chester wasn't well coordinated on working with someone else. You sound like you're happy about this. But in fact, he was competent. A round of applause. He was often leaving me behind without realizing it. With some work, we made our dynamic as a duo function well enough. The sun was already soaring in the middle of the sky. I was leaning in the sink while washing my hands. Well, this did take a bit longer than I expected. Are you upset? Sir, it's okay. He was already prepared to leave. Not really. I feel like the time invested was pretty worth it. You're pretty good at this. Dashing out some compliments. Oh, I see that little blush. Thank you. You're not bad yourself. Either way, I really should get going. Of course. See you soon? See you soon, Selfie. He exited the room. After drying my hands, I was prepared to leave as well. I opened the door and walked down the corridor. Oh, Just as I exited the room, I remembered that I forgot my lab coat hung somewhere. What a pain. After 1 year, you think you would get used to not forgetting such a simple thing. You do realize people like 20 years into their experience will do simple mistakes. Bad, it is bad when it's in dire situations, but still. People lock themselves out of their cars, they forget their codes, they forget birthdays. It's a matter of repetition. But I was glad I noticed it was missing soon enough. Dun. Something laying over my desk caught my attention. Seems like Chester forgot something too. Oh, it looked like a small notebook. He probably took it out to take notes. I'll give it to him the next time I see him. I wonder what's in that book. Sitting down at the table, I put my bag on top of it to start studying. Surprisingly, today the library was not as crowded as it always is. A silent sweetness filled the air. It seemed like a nice day outside, too. Sadly, not nice enough to abandon my degree just yet. I can't enjoy nature. I really should get to work on those PDFs. Me too. Oh. Yeah, you accidentally. I accidentally knocked over Chester's notebook. It opened itself on a random page as it hit the ground. It was a schedule after all. You must be really into organizing stuff. Oh my god, what is this gonna be? Bro. I picked it up and stared at it for a few moments. I see matcha. I see matcha. Has he literally already been on my tail? Oh, how is he gonna explain this if this is already happening in chapter freaking prologue? Monday, 6 a.m. Woke up. 6:30, left house. 6:50, took train. 7:20, ordered matcha. 7:45, arrived. Huh? Isn't this... Oi! Damn, boy, you are quick to find us. But... Rookie mistake leaving your schedule out. Hello, Chester. Please excuse me. It seems I lost something in the lab. Did you, by any chance, came across it? Could it be a very personal retelling of perhaps my morning? Though in fact, you could be scheduling your own event because you could have woken up at that same time, took the train, and ordered a matcha as well. I mean, for one thing alone, it doesn't have any details besides a practical schedule that, yes, matches yours, but in actuality, probably the only reason it stands out is because specifically the drink, not even the time, because most people's schedules are that if they're going to school, and especially if they have to take the train to go somewhere, and if they're particular about organization. Plus, only seen a page that started up and ended with arrived, nothing else, no other descriptors. So yeah, there is a point of how you make that jump in assumption and paranoia is really Where does that come from, where you suddenly decide to trust or mistrust or even have that inkling of suspicion for a new person? Like, legit wondering, like, in real life, how would you even approach that? Because if one, he didn't frantically come back, then it's the question how he found us here in the library. See, I'm just speculating, like, wondering, like, legit, people's reactions to this. Now I have to see, how does the characters play this out? Dang, this, like, dude, it's jumping really fast, the text. Cool. I did. Marvelous. That notebook was exactly what I was looking for. You wanna tell me about that schedule? Thank you. You were very helpful. I am? See, throw you off, give you compliments. Of course. You see, I'm quite throw you off the track. I have to schedule my day tit to tit in order to keep track of my time. How curious. I'm quite useless without it. Really, I didn't realize you were this organized about things. I must be imagining things. See, the whole quieting down that gut reaction, playing it down. You flatter me. I believe I've yet a long way to go. But alas, I wish I could stay more. But I'm quite in a hurry. Now, if you excuse me. Right. Just my imagination. Oh, beautiful night sky, beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I love it when games have the night sky in it. As much as I try to deny myself, what I saw was still lingering in my mind. Can't let it go. Bothering you. It's curious. Because especially if he came up to us afterwards to show us the schedule, he would just push this agenda. But if he let it go, we might wonder about it still. Like, there's a very tricky way to play it. Because if he just disappears after that, it might prove to us, or if he stays, it might change things. Man, you gotta wonder how this is gonna go. Ooh, oh, I love it. I get to see it in the night, the little lights. The more I thought about it, the more silly it sounded in my mind. Because the whole thing of downplaying, like, someone couldn't possibly stalking me. Someone couldn't possibly take the time and energy to follow me around. And especially for the fact of the whole thing of, wouldn't I notice this? That whole deal. It feels so irrational to think that someone would be keeping tabs on me. Right? It's just that eerie what if. The little echo in the back of the head of, it is entirely possible. I should keep an eye out for him at the very least. Chapter 1, The Gentle Autumn Rain. Since then, Chester now talks to me occasionally, sitting by my side silently in class we shared. The thought of what I saw still never left my mind, and I kept thinking of ways to bring it up to him again and question it. But for now, it has just rendered me anxious about the topic. Besides that incident, he never acted oddly since, which only made me even more confused. Good afternoon, Mr. Adler. You've arrived earlier than usual today, huh? Mr. Adler is my assigned professor who gives me instructions to work in the lab. He's the one who guides me and the other 4 students assigned to him. Well, since you're here first, I'd like to tell you about... I got a new assistant, actually. Who's the new assistant? Well, I think it will do you and the others well. Honestly, I never thought I needed an assistant before, but that young man just convinced me so well. A new TA. Mr. Adler never had a TA before. It was really impressive, I would say, since he's basically at the same learning point as you. I was doubtful at first, but he somehow passed the test I gave him anyways. He seems so dedicated. Besides, I think it will do you well to talk to people your age too, dear. No offense, of course. None taken. Old people are so brutal sometimes. Mr. Adler in particular acts like a gossipy old lady. I just never saw you talking to anyone besides a professor before. You should try to get out of your bubble. Oh, I say this because I worry about you, my dear, of course. Yeah. Thanks, my dude. In one part, he is so dedicated to be by our side, but he's still pursuing a very lifelong passion and career choice. Like, can I really fault him in this state of mind? Until later with the warnings. Have to wonder, Good afternoon. Oh, weird to see you here. Chester? Do you know each other already? Well, this is the gentleman I was talking about. Hey, just remember to not let a personal relationship interrupt your academic pursuits and try to stay focused. Of course, you need not worry about such things, Mr. Adler. So you wanted to be his TA? Of course. It seemed like it would be entertaining? Then again, entertaining because he could be really passionate about pharmacology and he wants to understudy someone that has the same passion and outlook and training. This guy's idea of fun is really, really weird. But I won't complain. Mr. Adler, while being a very good professor, is not the most ideal person. He's an eccentric man. Sometimes he is more of a threat to me than any of those chemicals in the lab. Okay, you're a bit of a free spirit, sir. Mixing and brewing as you go. Guess Chester being here could be a big help to keep it under control. I didn't know you liked those sort of things. Teaching, I mean. Is that so? I will do anything as long as I can avoid retail. And what happened to internships being there to deal with people? Well, I'm dealing with you and some others, am I not? Specifically me. If you need anything, please come to me, Selfie. I'll be here to help you with anything you require. You can rely on me. Okay, my dude. Are you leaving already, Selfie? He's like rattling off his book like, you're taking different times. Yeah, I'm done for the day. I'm beat. Ooh, he's asking us to hang out outside of the professional, the academics. Bold. Would you be interested in drinking coffee with me? Sure, I guess I could use the break. Chester never really tried to take the initiative in talking to me like this. I guess he's starting to put more effort into it now. The love slowly rises. That's lovely. Would you like to pick the place? I know some excellent places you've been to. That was another thing about him. He always seemed to try to please others from what I've seen. Maybe you could consider him a pushover, but honestly, I feel a bit more worried that people may abuse his personality. I mean, being unassuming and easygoing and doing what others want takes you off of the creepy radar. He's being very methodical. Wouldn't you like to pick the place instead? Plus, if he makes a mistake and picks somewhere that you're too familiar with, it could give you the creep, the ick, the alerts. Okay, why am I being stabbed by something? Well, I don't know many shops to be fully sincere. I hope you could help with that. Fine, I know a place. Our coffee shop. So you said you came here a lot, isn't that right? What do you usually drink when you come here? You want to take a guess? Honestly, I usually just order their matcha latte. The taste is really earthy and smooth. I think it fits the season quite well. Pistachio. Pistachio coffee is delicious. He is molding his personality to fit exactly me. Like he's being a blank sheet and he just wants to like the things I like. In ways, that's adorably cute, but other ways, this is like a child trying to please someone they want to like him back. But then again, I can't say no because he has a smile. I love matcha too. I mean, it's so energizing. I guess I'll drink a cup of it with you. I save. I smiled at him. Oh, Chester, you and I know what's up. Selfie doesn't know. It was a nice afternoon. I was done with studying and I didn't have anything else to do. I always forget to take a break for myself. I was glad Chester was there. At this point, studying antidepressants was starting to give me depression. It almost feels like I was in high school again, hanging out casually with my friends. Except something else was in my mind. So about that notebook you left in the lab. Yes? could I even ask someone this? It's so awkward. That notebook, what was it? It's a schedule. What if, like, what if this story literally just, he comes out outright and says it? Like, what if, like, it'd be kind of crazy if from the start of the story, he confesses what he's doing to you. Like, wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, for one part, like, beyond the warnings and everything, what if this was like, there's another story, if future me remembers to put it, where there's a wholesome yandere, but it was from a female perspective. What if he just simply says he has an interest in us and an affinity, and he simply makes a schedule going about his business and keeping tabs on us, but nothing more? Like, legitimately, what if it never went to drug con and all that stuff? I don't know if there's another story like that, especially from the male perspective. Because I've seen wholesome, sweet yandere from the female perspective where it's adorable and cuddly and soft. But I don't see that from the other perspective that I can find. What if? Who knows? Just the little nugget in my brain that cannot stay quiet. It's a schedule. I thought you saw it before you gave it back. Yeah, it's just... crap. Then again, he could totally flip him and be like, exactly what I did that morning. But then it's the fact of, we could always ask to see another page. He could always refuse. I'm really curious where this dialogue's going. It seemed very familiar. Familiar? Curious too, because now that he's mentioned he loves matcha, before this, he now has the advantage to be like, simply, that was my schedule. Oh, what a cunning man. But then again, I have to wonder, is he cunning or he's simply comfortable? Because they did say in the game itself, this is supposed to be a comfortable game with uncomfortable feelings. Are you... Oh. Wow. Actually using the word. Huh. Are you saying you thought I was stalking you? Oh. Wait, what? I'm not even clicking it. Dude, that just like jumped through the text. Hi. That'd be abhorrent. I would never do such a thing. Like, I don't know if that was intentional or if my keyboard, because that just followed the text really quickly, rapidly. Curious. That schedule was of my own, of course. His hands, but then again, the whole thing of he could be someone who doesn't like confrontation, and having this now build up an anxiety being presented to him, it could make him feel the confrontation and confused and maybe very afraid, because, I mean, you could always bring this up to the dean of your school. But then the other fact of him being angry or concerned you're gonna find out, like, from the outside perspective, without us, the player, playing the game, this can be seen in many different ways. His hands were shaking slightly as he held the cup. It was? Oh, I'm very sorry. Honestly, I don't remember the contents that well. We're gaslighting. We're gaslighting ourselves. We were so convinced this entire time of conversation to confront him, and now that he's backing down, that he's submissive, and that he's trembling and scared, he's not denying and getting bold, we're feeling guilty. See? Oh, but more the dialogue. Hang on. Honestly, I don't remember the contents that well anymore. This has been almost a week since that. But he couldn't just be lying, could he? Chester doesn't seem like he would do that. Well, it's okay. I just hope it didn't scare you. I'm very sorry for this misunderstanding. Redirect, throw the conversation in, like, let me treat you. God. How about this as compensation? The drinks are on me, okay? I'd like to make up for distressing you. Are you sure it's not even fully your fault, you know? I insist. Like, I don't know if he's running a long con on us, or if he's legit, or if he's so tired, is he just simply doing this out of the motions, out of, like, a compulsion? Curious. Oh, the little cat thing's still there. Meow, 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 meow. So... I shifted in my seat from the uncomfortable silence. You're in. Are we really starting this conversation? Man, our character sucks at breaking the ice. What does this have to deal? You're in pharmacology too, right? Why did you take that degree? Well, I guess I just like it. I find the prospect of working in a laboratory to be very interesting. Hey, I mean, some of the science stuff does sound entertaining and exciting and thrilling to be able to test and prove and use hypothesis and track a number. It's just a matter of some of the measurements screw with my head. Guess this degree applies to my interests. Well, there you go. You'll never have a boring day. But I was aiming for medicine. I just wanted to make my parents not worry about me. Well, you're happy with your degree. And it's pretty prestigious school, too. Why wouldn't you say they're proud? Look at that. Avoid the conversation. Would you like to order something to eat? Personally, I'm quite hungry. My treat. Look at that. Throwing money, bedazzle us. Oh, look at that. Again, realize, how do I want to play this? Because, I mean, if I want to build meaningful connection with him, are you okay seems to be the way to go. But then for the fact of he deflected pretty hard on that. I mean, could I be hungry? You know what, because at this point, besides us feeling uncomfortable with him, I feel like at this point we should bond. Yeah. Yes. Hesitant, yes. I'm perfectly fine. I suppose I will get us something sweet. I mean, depending on the stress of family. Guess Chester worries about making his parents proud. I hope he's doing fine. It's been such a long while since I last spent time like this with someone. I really appreciate Chester for going out with me today. I often get caught up with studying and trying not to stay behind. Just for this day, I forgot all about it. Maybe others would see Chester as an awkward guy. Oh, look at that. Throw it into, do I want something romantic or platonic? Because either way, you have to wonder, where does the platonic route take you? I mean, yes, planned route. They did say they're potentially having two. I don't know what's going to give me the more juicy details. Do I want him as a friend? Do I want him as a romantic partner? I'm assuming the romantic is going to bring more, but I really do hope the platonic route carries enough depth and plot to it. I want to know more about him and be there for him. And I think my headphones just died. Great. Now. Okay, we're just gonna have to go back. I want to see what else happens. Let's see. Is there anything that changes if I put myself as tall? I mean, short is short. I should be short. Let's not cheat myself. I'm gonna put the matchas again. Now, what happens if I just go direct? Because especially, does that change my topics later? Just got too lazy to build up courage so I could talk to someone properly. Also, everyone looks so unapproachable. Or maybe just the nerves of meeting someone new. Oh. I have to admit, I didn't expect that. No. That is a bad thing. Not that that is a bad thing. I read that as no. At least you're not struggling. And for that, I'm relieved for you. Look at that, a change in topic. Smiled at his words. So, he didn't match exactly back to that. So if we become a shy, introverted kind of person, we may match up with personalities and potentially become codependent on each other. What if his shyness and my directness blend? We could both become best of friends or passion, depending. Oh, so here on the second part, when we're talking about internship and learning how to talk to people, our dialogue changes of, I'm sure you can learn it. And internships are, so it flips of who's telling who, because he was the one telling us about that. Interesting. Okay, interesting. I like the little change. Now we come to chapter 1. so is this a little bit different? So how we approach the topic changes a little. Yes, I know. But it seemed too familiar. Oh, look at that. Sorry, I don't want you to see you as a bad person. It's just that I thought it was something else since it seems so similar to what I did that day. So rather than beating around the bush, we are not BSing. But then, oh, look at that. It does change. It has almost been a week. He is telling the truth, right? I can't even imagine Chester stalking one. He's just too nice of that. Rather than debating if he's lying, now we're debating if it's truth. Interesting. Little tweaks of personality and how you make these connections. Compensation, distress. I insist. Let's see how the rest of the dialogue goes. Now, would it change if we do this now that we're being direct? Well, let's see about Platonic. I think he's a great friend. I want to know more about him and be there for him. So that's in a way of maybe choosing a path that we're going to go on rather than what we read. But again, this is at the end of the demo. I'm curious because it's called Gentle Fall. In part, it's still saying fall, like the unraveling, the corrosion, dying, unbearing something. And rather than it being a fast destruction, it's gentle. It slowly envelops us like how autumn slowly changes to winter. Ew. I hope there's like information, like the creator talks about their inspiration for this game. I'm curious. I'm so fucking curious. And that's everything for Gentle Fall for now. Hopefully there's more later. So, goodbye.